with UCSA, and like this is something that really hasn't been capitalized on in past years, which is really weird to me, is like this is what I've noticed just in the couple of years that I've been at EAVP. Each campus tends to do its own thing and like goes on its own path, and like there will be occasional, and like any time that there is kind of coordinated action, it's kind of through word of mouth, and there's no clear direction. The hope this year with this board is that we can actually take advantage of UCSA to make sure that every campus is actually working on the same actions and the same priorities and the same campaign every step of the way. So I really am going to bring up the priorities of the University of California Student Association as we go into this. We just had our annual Congress back in August where we decided on our two campaigns, which are one of them is the HOPE campaign, which centers around SB 185 and reforming the financial aid process for UCs to make the application more holistic. And then the second campaign, which is the campaign that I've really been involved in, kind of to a higher degree, is the Reform 13 campaign, which essentially aims to lay the groundwork for state-level coalition building, statewide coalition building between students and other progressive organizations in an effort to eventually build momentum to put a proposition on the ballot that would reform Proposition 13 by removing the cap on corporate property taxes. A lot of what has come out of OP, like anytime we complain to them, they say, hey, whoa, the problem is in Sacramento. They're just not giving us enough money. Go to Sacramento. So this solution takes us to Sacramento. And that's what UCSA is saying. It's like, look, we're sick of like one-off March 4th kind of random days of action here and there and teach-ins that don't really have like a clear long-term goal. And like that's why we're engaging this campaign. Like, let's take it to Sacramento. The focus will really be on revenue raising for the state, and I think that ties into a lot of what the Lieutenant Governor laid out in his economic agenda. He identified a lot of things that were broken, and just a lot of points that need to be remedied if we are going to be economically competitive. Things like streamlining regulation and building up infrastructure and building human capital, and all of those investments are going to require funds, and we're going to have to raise the revenues to do those things, and looking at what solutions are actually out there to raise revenues will be kind of the focus of the meeting in my mind. I feel like in the past several years, a lot of the smaller pieces of legislation that have been discussed, things like an oil severance tax or dedicated taxes that go to a particular higher education, particular higher education system, or only to higher ed and not to K through 12 or other services, haven't worked in large part because this kind of broad array of groups hasn't been getting together and hasn't been working together. Like the point of a working group like this is to come out with kind of vanguard, like, hard-hitting solutions, not piecemeal reform, because otherwise, if we were just trying the same tactics, there would be no point in convening. But I'm excited.